Welcome to the College Recruiter webinar. The subject of today's discussion will be on how to convey the study abroad advantage in job or grad school interviews. My name is Andrea-mcewen Henderson, and I will be your host today. I am one of the national account managers with College Recruiter. I have a dozen of years of experience in helping large and small employers reach recent college graduates and students. My primary responsibilities are facilitating our webinars, moderating the discussions at our college recruiting bootcamp conferences, as well as working with small to mid-sized employers on their entry-level hiring needs. College Recruiter is the highest traffic college job board with 150,000 unique monthly visitors. We help employers reach recent graduates and students of 1, 2, and 4-year colleges and graduate schools. We have permission to deliver emails on behalf of our employer clients to 7 million recent graduates and 10 million students, and can also target them by major, school, year of graduation, diversity, and more. Our other solutions for employers include job postings, targeted mobile banner ads, targeted display ads, virtual career fairs, and custom research projects. For more information about College Recruiter, you can reach us at www.collegerecruiter.com/contact or 952-848-2211. Today's guest is Mark Shay, CEO of Abroad 101. Mark is a business leader with a long history of success helping higher education institutions recruit and retain students. In a career that has spanned 3 decades, Mark is known throughout the higher education industry as an innovator and for developing products like gradschools.com and abroad.com, as well as for his consulting expertise in areas of sales and marketing. In late 2013, Mark returned to his entrepreneurial ways by acquiring Abroad 101, which is the first and largest study abroad review website. Recognized as a TripAdvisor of study abroad, Abroad 101 provides students, parents, and academic advisors tools to get more out of study abroad while helping study abroad providers in their recruiting of future students. I'll now turn over the webinar to Mark. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. It's great to be with you again and to be with your audience. Last week we had a nice webinar talking about study abroad and whether it will help. And hopefully in that time lots of students got excited and signed up. Today we'll look a little deeper at what to convey and how to get that message of your powerful experience to employers, to future grad schools, and to people around you in your personal life who you have been away for a while. It's fair to say that every student today is looking for an advantage. Job market is still tight, and different college experiences will have a big impact on the way their employers will look at them, as well as give them opportunities to present themselves with interviews. In front of you, you see the Generation Study Abroad logo. That is an initiative by all involved in study abroad to increase capacity and awareness in study abroad. And Abroad 101 is proud to be a commitment partner, one of the organizations pledging to double the numbers of students who will study abroad by 2020. The Study Abroad Advantage. The other logo you see on your screen is designed to be an icon for the students to kind of give them a badge of honor that's saying they've studied abroad, and hopefully they will use that badge in their social media, in their LinkedIn profiles, and as they go around the rest of their life, identify themselves as a successful student who's been abroad and had that life-changing experience, as so many report. And it is about life-changing stories, study abroad. Students who come back time and time again will tell of amazing experiences, fascinating journeys, incredible discoveries, and trying to convey that in a way that doesn't just blow the doors off of the people around you or doesn't make you look like a zealot is part of the challenge that we're going to address today and ongoing. Anybody who's been in study abroad will tell you that enthusiasm, that exuberance, how do you dial that down into some very practical ways so that the rest of the world will get an appreciation of what you do but not overwhelmed by you do. So in essence, what you're trying to do in many cases is turn skeptics or doubters into at least fans of you and perhaps fans themselves of study abroad. So there are certainly misconceptions about study abroad. A number of people think that it's time off, it's just a hoot, it's extended spring break. We see that universities want you to do it. That's a bit of a misconception at times, because those who have studied abroad will tell you, while it's good on paper, the universities themselves sometimes make it awful difficult. Another misconception is that everybody does it, or that study abroad is for the elite. We hear in the media, we hear from company rhetoric, press releases, descriptions, commercials on TV, telling us that global companies with global brands caring about the world, they have a global image. We hear it in the news about global trade. We're aware of things on all corners of the globe. There's news about threats from other parts of the globe, from disasters in other parts of the globe, from trends, positive and negative, in other parts of the globe. Overall, we hear from companies too that the U.S. is generally viewed as still creative energy for the world, a thought leader. We look to the U.S. for development of technologies, for development of all forms of innovation. You go abroad and people love things American. There's people who travel here just to shop. It is very much a curiosity for Americans, which would, in a global economy and a global workplace, seem to draw to your advantage. For Americans, the good news is also business is conducted in English just about everywhere. Most education is delivered in English, even if not as the primary language, certainly as the secondary language. So as English speakers, us Americans are well positioned to think globally. So despite what looks like study abroad would be clear sailing to get you a job, there's other parts of this that make us think a little bit more, and for students, something to bear in mind when they start to talk to people. For the most part, going away to college is on the decline with students in the U.S. More students, typical college students, are going closer to home. They're going to state schools, they're going to community colleges. Many of those students will transfer. Only 25% of today's college students will graduate on time. Many of those students will work while they're in school. Then they'll be busy while they're at school working toward a promotion and trying to get better standing in their current job. And then, of course, after they return home, quite often those same jobs are where they'll begin, where their careers will expand, and many times they're going to be returning home right after their school. So despite globally, local is part of what we all do. The majority of jobs come from small businesses. The majority of new jobs come from small businesses. Large companies may have a global vision at their headquarters, but when you get down to the division level, it's a different story. Global companies certainly have provincial behavior in their operations. They'll have their managers, they'll have their supervisors, their HR people come from the local area and generally align with local thought. So that's something to keep in mind as you go out and start to think about how you present your time abroad. So while you have this ideal vision of your experience, your future boss may have a very different perspective. And he may think, well, you took some time off, you weren't really that responsible. Perhaps while you were overseas, you were maybe less about the normal ways and became very independent. Maybe you're now sort of anti-corporate, or maybe you're un-American. These are stereotypes that the students from study abroad may face when they start to go and enter into their post-college career. So my suggestion to you is to first start to assume that study abroad won't be an advantage for you. When you start to interact, you'll be needing to kind of convey to them, whoever them may be, how this benefited and impacted you, that you want to try to talk with the interviewer, try to talk with the others, and get an understanding of their perception of study abroad. And then from there, you'll be able to kind of tailor your questions. I have a picture here of a beach. Well, this isn't the typical beach setting. I think that's the notion that in other parts of the world, it may not be common to have camels walking around, and people may not be bathing in the beach, and the beach has a whole different context. And that's the kind of image you want to try to understand from those who are interacting with you. Things you want to talk about, things you want to express is that, yes, you had your work-study commitments and your progress to degree. There were obstacles to study abroad, and you had to figure this out, and you had to overcome those. You wanted to go and study abroad, but your family or your friends or even some of your social requirements or commitments got in the way. You had to figure out how to get around those and then how to repair those or carry those on when you returned. Study abroad's expensive. That's a barrier to going abroad. You figured it out. You got scholarships. You figured how to get through the system. You took a risk. You had everything going along fine for you at campus. You went overseas, and now you have to come back, piece the pieces together, and regain your momentum and graduate. So all of those things are about your achievements through the system and the bureaucracy, which in many cases is like a day-to-day walk through corporate America. So when you talk to somebody, you'll be passionate about study abroad, but you want to make sure that you want to convey how that affected you. Did it make you more compassionate, more aware of the world, more conscientious? College will make you smarter, but maybe study abroad made you wiser. You were independent. You were able to travel different parts of the world. You were able to do things on your own. You were able to achieve things on your own. You're now stronger. You're now more confident. You're in a position to be a better leader, position maybe to be a better person. These are messages that you can convey. These are part of that study abroad experience. One way to do this, and this is what Abroad 101 as a website's all about, is putting that message into a review, taking that summary of your experience abroad, be it several weeks, a semester, or a full year, putting it in paper, putting it online, doing it through the format of a review allows you to express your experiences and put your point of view forward in what should be a point of pride. We suggest that you use pictures and that those pictures of you are in a professional setting. Here again, another picture on the beach, but look at this. You're not just lounging around with a cocktail in your hand. You're interacting with local kids. This could be the story that talks about your involvement in the local community, your volunteer work, what you did on the side. You want to create in that review a title that reflects a little bit about your personality and not just, I had a great time, it was the best 4 months of my life. And then yourself communicating that, demonstrating that you know how to communicate in a professional manner are also good signs to the employer that you're public savvy, that you're communication savvy, you're social media savvy. So with your review and now your stories, the goal is to try to connect and leverage those things into some door openings for you as you look for opportunities. Most of those study abroad organizations, either through the school or through the provider who ran the program, will have an alumni organization, will have alumni coordinators or alumni ambassadors. You should look into trying to become one of these, apply for these positions, come back to campus, spread the word. We have, as I mentioned earlier, the Study Abroad Advantage, which is a group on LinkedIn with over 2,000 students and an increasing number of hiring managers who are looking there as a place for talent, as well as for thoughtful postings on the topics of presenting study abroad professionally. When you're abroad, you've met lots of people, people who influenced you, people who you respect. Get letters of recommendation from them. Get them now. Don't wait until you graduate. But while those connections are fresh in your mind, while those experiences are fresh in their mind, it's a good idea to get those things in letters of recommendation. So that's just an overview. Some of those tips we hope you'll be able to employ. And welcome now a chance to take some questions.
Thank you so much, Mark. And actually, we do have some questions. And one of the first ones is, what are some of the keywords or buzzwords that you think candidates should avoid in an interview?
Well, I think, as I mentioned, the best 4 months of my life is one that too often comes through in a title or in the topic of study abroad. And I think put yourself in the position of somebody else. If I was to say to you, Andrea, let's send you to Barcelona for 4 months, let's let you work 3 days a week, let's tell you it's your obligation to go and explore European capitals on weekends, it would probably be the best 4 months of your life, even if you did that last week. So that's not saying anything. That's not really being professional. Awesome, life-changing, incredible. Those are not necessarily descriptive and professional terms. Got another? I think some of the things that you would not want to say, or that you would want to say, is study abroad was confidence building, made me responsible. I became independent. I became aware, and aware in many capacities, aware of laws, aware of risks, aware of threats. You were able to understand people and their points of view.
Thank you, Mark. Now, my next question for you is this. Um, how do I list my study abroad program and my experience on my LinkedIn profile?
Well, you can, in the education section, identify with a school. There are at times alumni groups for the schools, and we would recommend that you do that for the program you were on. So if you were an exchange student, reference that foreign university and itemize it as an education experience. If you were through a program that's got a wide recognition, recognize it through the name of the program. So DIS, Danish Institute for Study Abroad, is a very popular program and has a very active alumni group.
Okay, now the next question is, you mentioned know where you stand. Ask the interviewer if they studied abroad or know of others who did. Tell us more about that idea.
I think in any case, when you're trying to convince somebody, nervousness and sort of immaturity will get you doing all the talking, as they would say. And really, a successful interview and a successful sales pitch involves the buyer doing most of the talking. So the hope is that you can talk about study abroad and first try to get the opinion from the person you're trying to convince as to what their perceptions may be. So in conversation, have you ever hired somebody from study abroad? Might be a question to kick off that discussion. Have you yourself studied abroad? Have there been study abroad students who've been successful here? Those would be the kinds of leading questions that might get that interviewer to talk, and also to get that interviewer to identify their point of view. And it's at that point, let them speak their point of view, try to keep the conversation going to allow him to identify where his bias came from, and then allow you a chance to come back and say how that didn't affect you and how you're different in that sense, and that it ultimately, as you wrap up, hopefully you'll show him that this wasn't a mistake and that this was good for you, and him bringing you on board would be good for the firm.
Great, great. Now, when we're in the interview or the candidates in the interview, when should they begin starting to talk about their study abroad experience?
I guess that's the whole $1 million question. you don't want to seem to be an evangelist, but at the same time, you don't want to hide it. So I'll say it depends. If the conversation is going well and the description of the job fits, and you feel that everything is rolling along fine, then maybe you don't need to oversell it or really make it a key point. If things aren't going well, you're having trouble communicating, or in fact, they identify it and start asking you about it, then of course the topic changes and you have your opportunity to go on the offensive. Consider it a powerful card, and as in any time you have cards in your deck, you want to be careful that you play it at the right time. You don't play it too early and lose it, but that you also don't forget to play it at all. So I think that's part of, you have to read the situation and sense it and play it when it's best.
Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you for being our guest today, and thank you for attending this College Recruiter webinar. Today's subject of today's discussion was how to convey the study abroad advantage in job or grad school interviews. My name is Andrea-mcewen Henderson, and I was your host today. I am one of the national account managers with College Recruiter. I have a dozen of years of experience in helping large and small employers with recent college graduates and students. My primary responsibilities are facilitating our webinars, moderating the discussions at our college recruiting bootcamp conferences, as well as working with small to mid-sized employers on their entry-level hiring needs. College Recruiter is the highest traffic college job board with 150,000 unique monthly visitors. We help employers reach recent graduates and students of 1, 2, and 4-year colleges and graduate schools. We have permission to deliver emails on behalf of our employer clients to 7 million recent graduates and 10 million students, and can also target them by major, school, year of graduation, diversity, and more. Our other solutions for employers include job postings, targeted mobile banner ads, targeted display ads, virtual career fairs, and custom research projects. For more information about College Recruiter, you can reach us at www.collegerecruiter.com/contact or 952-848-2211. Today's guest was Mark Shay, CEO of Abroad 101. Thank you for joining us today.